And we're live. Hi, hello, everyone. Welcome. Let's get right into it. Happy Ramadan. I think it's about time that that I did this. So, I was scrolling through some hadith and the Quran and I started to notice a pattern. And I'm just going to start off by saying I decided to title this, Did Muhammad Worship Stones? And I'm sure every Muslim immediately is going to assume that I'm talking about the black stone inside the Kaaba. But that's not what this is about, surprisingly. I'll mention it, but mostly I'm going to bring attention to all of the other stones in Muhammad's life that were near and dear to his heart. Let's get my screen share popping, and you'll start to know what I mean. There are quite a few. Quite a few. Okay. Come on. Come on, screen share. There's the inception. Oh, nope, that's not it. Okay. Actually, we're not going to start with that one. We are going to start with the black stone. Why not? Why not? Okay. So right here's a hadith. Let's hide this window. This is a prophecy about the day of judgment. The messenger of Allah said about the black stone, by Allah, Allah will, oh, yeah, okay. Allah will raise it on the day of resurrection with 2 eyes by which it sees and a tongue that it speaks with, testifying to whoever touched it in truth. Okay, so this is the stone that's inside of the Kaaba that all the millions of Muslims travel every year to touch it and kiss it. They kiss this stone and they believe that this stone fell from the heavens and it once was white and it has turned black over the years. Because when you kiss it, all of your sins come out through your lips and absorb into the stone. So on the day of judgment or day of resurrection, the stone is going to sprout eyes and a tongue, just a tongue just flapping there, eyes by itself, no brain, no optic nerve, just eyes and a tongue. Can you imagine it? Just a tongue by itself. Oh, that's nasty. Okay, anyway. And it's going to start talking and it's going to be like, this guy and that guy kissed me, and this other guy and this girl. I just got kissed by everybody, by millions of people, like kissing me. And I didn't have any hands. Allah, why didn't you give me hands so I could like wipe all these slobbery kisses off? Anyway, this is one. This is just the beginning. So this stone, it's kind of alive, right? Because it has a memory and thoughts and it can speak, or it'll be able to speak. But if this was just a one-off, like that's a coincidence, right? Let's look at another one. Oh, this one is very well known. Oh, that's too much. All right. Allah's messenger said, the hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, oh, Muslim, there's a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him. So, again, we have a stone talking. This one doesn't say anything about the stone sprouting a tongue, but maybe the sound will just come out of it. So, the stone is intelligent. It can speak. It, I don't know if it has a brain, again, nervous system, vocal cords. We don't know. It's just going to talk. And it's going to expose the Jew. Stones don't like Jews, by the way. This is the second one. Let's see if we have any more. This one supposedly happened already. This is not a prophecy of something that's going to happen in the future. So we already have 2 established stones in the future that are going to talk. And this stone, which in the past, well, let's see what it does in the story. You guys might know this. The people of Beni Israel used to take a bath together. Prophet Moses used to take a bath by himself. The people were gossiping and they were like, there's no reason he doesn't want to take a bath with us unless he has a scrotal hernia. So Muhammad's way of resolving this, no, sorry, not Muhammad, Allah. I get the two confused sometimes. Allah's way of resolving this was that Moses was in the river taking a bath. He put his clothes on a stone and the stone ran away. It didn't sprout legs. Well, it might have sprouted legs. They don't specify, but it ran away with his clothes. And he ran after it, buck naked, screaming, my clothes, oh stone, my clothes, oh stone. And of course, he was streaking past and they saw his dick and his balls. And they were like, it's clearly not. How were they able to medically examine his balls while he was running by? I don't know. But the point is, they were like, he's fine. So finally, Moses caught up with the stone and snatched his clothes back and beat the stone with a stick. Well, there's a different hadith that says he beat it with a stick. And supposedly there are still 6 or 7 marks present on the stone from that excessive beating. So that's kind of effed up. That the innocent stone, who only got willed to run away by Allah, was the one that had to take the fall for that and get beat up. But it's okay. How many is this now? How many stones is this now? 3? Let's keep going. Now this actually isn't a stone. This one's about a mountain. Kind of blurry. Are we starting to see a pattern here? Because we're not even done yet. Let's go. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. The stones that glorified Allah. Do they mean, when they say glorified, they mean they prayed to him, right? Okay. I can't, wait, where does this start? Oh, all right. Omar came and greeted and sat on Abu Bakr's right. Uthman came, greeted, and sat on the right side of Omar. There were 7 or 9. Okay, here's where it starts. There were 7 or 9 pebbles in front of the Prophet. He took them in his hands, and they started supplicating Allah until I could hear them. Then he put them down, and they were silent. That sounds like a magic trick. He took them again and placed them on Abu Bakr's hands. They, the stones, glorified Allah until I could hear. Until I could hear? So it started as a whisper and grew until the voices were deafening. All the little pebbles were like, praise Allah. And then he placed them in Omar's hands, and then they started praying to God, and then he placed them in Uthman's hands, and then they started praying to God. You see this? He did this miracle in front of the Sahaba. He took the pebbles and he put them in everybody's hands, and the freaking pebbles started talking. And, he did this magic trick a couple of times. Stones can talk, yo. Pebbles, so far we have pebbles, stones, rocks, mountains, all talking, feeling, running away, sprouting tongues, having memories, emotions. And now you may think to yourself, you may start to wonder, did Muhammad just really think that stones were alive? Or is it something deeper? So far, I've pretty much shown you hadith, and those can be explained away. Oh, they're not authentic, even though they're in differing chains, and some of them are authentic and can't be denied. But where is it? Here it is, right here. This is in the Quran. This is not a hadith, people. They spelled trees wrong. See you not that whoever is in the heavens and whoever is on earth including the sun and the moon and the stars and the mountains and the trees and all living creatures, and many of mankind prostrate themselves to Allah. So the sun makes prayer, the moon makes prayer, the mountains bow down in prayer to Allah. Everything, not just living things, everything prays to God. I mean, we're not going to just ignore the fact that he just said the sun and the moon and the constellations all make salat. And we already knew that he thinks that the trees are alive, so that we can understand, kind of. But the mountains too, mountains and the rocks and the pebbles, make prayer. Okay. And they have feelings and emotions and memories and brains, maybe? And this ties into, okay, maybe it was the pagan roots from beforehand. They worshipped idols. What is an idol? Basically just a carved stone. But he wanted to prove that he wasn't a pagan. And he made a big, huge point of saying we don't pray to idols. We don't worship carved stone or carved wood or anything of the sort. Yeah, he really doesn't worship it because some people may remember there are multiple hadith where he has been quoted as, they didn't have toilet paper back then, so he uses pebbles, stones, whatever, to wipe himself when going to the bathroom. And, well, let's just read it. Wipe yourself with your left hand, using at least 3 pebbles. But don't use bones or dung, because they are the food of the jinn. Let's just ignore that. Don't use bones. But pebbles are cool. So he was using the bathroom. He called out, "Who is that?" Abu Huraira answered. And then he said, "Get me some stones that I can use to clean myself." So, I mean, this is kind of interesting. Stones hold such significance, but he's using them. It's all good. And it's not just the stones that are alive. I found this entire article, and it's trying to prove that everything prays to God, but all they really prove is that Muhammad thought that everything was alive. I mean, look at this. The crying trunk of the tree. There was a tree crying. Okay, maybe it was sap. Trees bow down. Trees obey the prophet. Wait, let's go up. How many of those are there? Trees make dhikr. How's that? Do they wiggle their leaves? The wolf. The wolf that spoke about the prophet. The bird that complained. The camel that complained. Are we done? No. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. The food that prayed to God. The food right before it's about to get eaten. No. Let's read this. Let's read this. We used to consider miracles as blessings, but you consider them a warning. Once he ran out of water, he said, "Bring the water with you." The people brought something containing water. He placed a hand in it and said, "Come to the blessed water, and the blessing is from Allah." I saw the water flowing from the fingers of Muhammad, and no doubt we heard the meal glorifying Allah when it was being eaten by him. It's like, when it's being eaten, instead of being like, stop eating me, it was like, alhamdulillah. Oh my gosh. So are we starting to see a pattern here? It's actually not just stones that Muhammad believes have feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and exhibit human behaviors. It's actually a lot of things. He thinks that animals can talk. Birds, camels, wolves, ants, of course, can't forget that. There's an ant talking in the Quran. Stones, let's see. Again, okay, there it is. Camels praying to Allah, ants praying to Allah. So there we have it. He seems to think, And this is what's kind of interesting. He seems to think that the animals are at the level of of intelligence to be able to speak, and even other objects in nature, trees and stones and etc. and whatnot. So if animals can speak and they have higher intelligence, you should be even more kind to them. But I don't know if it's in this article. He did give orders to kill black dogs, lizards, and wait, let me see. Yep, here it is. Okay. Lizards, scorpions. Um, Here we go. It is known from hadith that lizards, dogs, and scorpions should be killed. They are considered as impure or evil animals. So those are the exception. Maybe they're possessed by demons or something. But apart from those, and it's kind of funny. It's actually lizards, dogs, scorpions. There's something else. I think that's it. So you're supposed to be merciful and don't kill spiders, but you are supposed to kill lizards, scorpions, and dogs. But you're also supposed to be nice to dogs because there was a prostitute who gave water to a dog and then she got to heaven. So you're supposed to be nice to dogs even though they're demons. And then when and there's another hadith, I don't know if I have it pulled up, where he's riding camel alongside of his friend who's on a slower camel, and he pulls out a stick and beats the camel. In fact, we might be able to find it really quick. Hmm. Anyway, the point is that here it is. I was on a camel and I began to beat it. No, that's not it. He beat the fucking camel. uh, there it is. I was riding a slow and tired camel. The prophet passed by and beat it and prayed for blessings for it. That's creepy. There's another hadith where he pulls out a stick and beats it with a stick. The camel became so fast, yeah, because it was trying to run away from your crazy ass. So anyway, that's the point. There's actually multiple variations of this one, but they all mention him beating the camel. So a lot of animal no, what is that word? Animal rights. Yeah, he was so good with animals. Like, oops, we're skipping ahead. So my point is, if you think the animals are intelligent and can speak, I feel like you should be even more compassionate towards them, but that was strangely not the case. Now, we've seen already that he believed that inanimate objects had, some way of feeling, of praying, of, speaking and running and doing all these types of funny things. And I found this here. It's called animistic thinking. This is believing that inanimate objects have actions and thoughts, believing inanimate objects possess human qualities such as feelings and emotions, like the mountain that he loved and that loved him back. And you know what's funny is in all these examples, it's about children. They're all of children thinking that. I mean, not that a grown adult can't exhibit this type of feeling, but it's usually linked with some type of mental illness. This is not usually thought of to be something that generally well-adjusted, mentally stable people believe, that inanimate objects are kind of alive in a way. And And not only is it children, but even the children only think that way about like their dolls and their toys and things that actually kind of have humanoid features. So does that even count? Because oh my goodness. I mean, this is like a tiny little toddler. A child slips and bangs her head and complains about the bad table for hurting her. Um, this one's a little bit more understanding. A girl asks her doll what she thinks of her new dress, as if the doll understands her. So we're starting to get this idea. We're starting to get a picture of a part, just a tiny part of Muhammad's mental illness, because this is definitely not the only thing. Lots of people can agree that he definitely exhibited obsessive compulsive tendencies. Now, animism is the, well, let's just read it. Animism is the religious belief that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence, basically, like all things. Well, potentially, animism perceives all things, animal, plants, rocks, rivers, weather systems, etc., as animated and alive. And this is my favorite part right here. Animism is the world's oldest religion. Anyone who's a critic of Muhammad can all agree that he kind of looks like he ripped off a bunch of different religions that were older than Islam. And finally, remember how he said the mountain loves him. We love the mountain, and the mountain loves us back. Object sexuality is when a person is attracted to an object and they believe that the object can even reciprocate the your feelings and emotions for it. So anyway, let's just stop screen sharing there. So I thought that was just interesting how I kept seeing a recurring theme with the rocks in particular, but with all the objects really, and how imagine seeing the world through his eyes and seeing everything as being, you know, alive and having a brain and thinking and feeling. But yet still, that doesn't change. I mean, of course, that's not going to change the way that you interact with your world because, let's be honest, I mean, even women who are in the same species don't get equal treatment. So, I mean, even if he does worship stones, it's not that much of a stretch for him to use them to wipe himself after going to the bathroom. I mean, what's the conclusion of this? Did he really believe that these objects were alive? Or like, was this just another thing that he wanted to rip off and implement into his religion to try and make it more relatable? I don't know. I'm gonna take a moment to look through some of the little comments here. Yeah. So I just thought that was funny and interesting how there are so many rocks in hadith that run around, have speak. The black stone itself, it's gonna grow 2 eyes and a tongue, just a tongue by itself. Like, not with teeth or lips or anything, just a tongue. Like, that reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy Krueger puts his tongue through the phone and it's just flapping around. Okay, I'm done. All right, but I don't know. Think about that. Yeah, it's food for thought. I wonder what the scholarly response to this would be. What's the reasoning behind and what's the rationale behind all of these rocks and inanimate objects in the solar system itself? Thinking, feeling, having not necessarily having a brain, but if the sun and the moon, and we're going to assume the other planets too, the other planets that Muhammad didn't know about, all pray to Allah, then the very earth itself must pray to Allah, right? Food for thought. Anyway, it's getting late and I gotta go do stuff, so I'm signing off. And this was fun. Just a little brain food for you. Oh man. All right. Uh, peace out, and I'll talk to you guys later. I have some upcoming things in the works. Keep an eye out. Okay. Bye.